So when you defeat anger, anger doesn't sit somewhere lying around. It no longer exists. When you defeat darkness, darkness doesn't stay somewhere in corner. Figure that out. And that's a profound point that has to settle in the heart. If that settles, you are on a real spiritual path. Religion in its vibrant, dynamic state. Om Nilambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panavu Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Sri Ramcharitmanas by Goswami Tulsi Ji, Balakanda, and we are the verse number 180. The family of demons is being described. Don't get afraid. You must understand, these Puranic stories are written for the masses. Masses are like in kindergarten level. And so, everything is presented to the masses in the form of a cartoon presentation. For example, if you are going to be told anger is bad, then there will be an artistic picture of the anger. And there will be a story attached to it. And you tell the whole story and show the artistic picture moving back and forth. All the havoc it does, and all the good that comes when it disappears. It's fascinating. But follow the same understanding for a profounder insight into the Ramayana. While follow the story, along with the story, understand the deeper meaning. First, just to give you a little reference, we are dealing with three great demons. They are brothers. Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. Kumbhakarna is tamas, inertia operating in every individual. Is Kumbhakarna in you that shuts the ears from listening to anything good. Kumbha means pot, Karana is ear. Between the ears is a big pot. You hear from one ear, the other ear goes away. You don't have much of a pot. But you hear, and in the big pot, it starts boiling. It creates its own cooking. I'm joking, but yeah, to understand. Tamas does big havoc. The stomach is inertia. Live your life constantly giving emphasis, constantly highlighting the inertia aspect for subtler understanding. You have opportunity to do something good, but your mind says, I should be gooder. I should have a better opportunity. I'm using humorous language. There's nothing gooder in English. In other words, when you go on highlighting the negative in you and don't see anything positive, then Kumbhakarna is growing within you. When you develop distracted mind, as if you have 10 heads. 10 is a kind of easy to understand. 10 simply implies your head is everywhere. There are 4 directions. The angles of the directions put together become 8. And then there is up and down. So you describe all, you describe in the figurative term 10. Dasho Disha. So mind that has become so distracted, these two are the main aspect of ignorance, the source of all dark forces. Vibhishana plays double role in sattva. In the early stage, sattva in you, goodness that comes in you, instead of nourishing your soul for spiritual advancement, started nourishing your ego. Everything good that you do allows your ego to swell up. Find some medicine to reduce inflammation. That's the nature of sattva. You see in history and see before you people who are bully-headed. They talk about how many good things they have done. Whether they have done or not doesn't matter. But ultimately, the role of Vibhishana is kicked out and turns to Rama. The moral behind it, develop sattva. But to be sure you are developing sattva in a right way, allow devotion to enter your heart. If bhakti, devotion to God, love for God is not entering, and you have the idea, you're very good. There's no need for anything else, no God, etc. Be good is good. You are deluding yourself. But once God has come, bhakti, devotion, and devotional movement, now your soul is given a path leading to liberation, which is the ultimate goal. That sattva now will go on, allowing you to climb the steps, 7 steps of wisdom, until you attain liberation. It goes on nourishing your inner movement. But if you don't have that level, sattva that is serving only rajas and tamas, then it is in the realm of enriching the demoniac family. Let me go on now and we'll understand more. In the process of describing Ravana and his family, Tulsi says in this verse, Kumukha akampan kulisharad dhoomaketu atikay ek jat jiti sag aise subhat nikay. First they had described all the close relatives of Ravana, his brothers, Meghnad, Ravana's son. Now they are describing many associates, great heroes, soldiers who are working under Ravana. And who are they? Their description. Durmukh, face that is very distorted. You wouldn't know where the nose is, where the ears are. But it is a commanding face. Instead of keeping you in suspense, let me give you also a subtler meaning. Durmukh is, the word here is kumukh, the same as durmukh, distorted face. It's anger. You don't believe in me? When you are angry, see your face. Durmukh is coming up. Don't become frightened. It is not an evil force from somewhere coming to dominate over you. People reading this, they have developed constantly that idea that there are dark forces and they just come and grab you just like thieves and robbers, and you can do nothing about it. And the message behind the scripture is not to keep you terrified about dark forces. Understand those negative, demoniac qualities exist in every individual. And how to allow those negative qualities to be removed. And understand, again reminding you of 3S. First stage, dealing with your negative quality, don't give expression to it. Suppress. The negative ghost is coming. Close the door. Suppress. Next, while you have suppressed it, don't stay worrying about. I've seen a ghost, now what will happen to me? My whole day is gone. Instead, substitute. Don't give any prominence to negative. How gracious God is who has given me this wonderful embodiment. How wonderful He is. He has fashioned me from toes to the head. I'm giving very simple language. How many wonderful things you have experienced in your life. Think of all the positive. And more precisely, develop the idea that you are embodiment of love. How can anger stay with you? All your teeth are wonderful. Then why do you have to twist your teeth? And then comes the third level. The anger that was a problem before you is no longer a problem. Headache that was a problem, it goes away. And it has gone away. Don't create a picture that a headache was a devil sitting on my head. And this is the way it looked. I'm joking, but I don't understand. Many people have tremendous problem when they think of demons, etc. So simple point. So repeating again, reminding you, suppress, substitute, anger, suppress it, don't express it, don't give any expression in your action, in your words, not even in your thought. Substitute it, turn your mind to japa, offer prayers, say to yourself, God abides in my heart. I am just a channel of God. All love. The love of Jesus, the love of Buddha, the love of saints and sages. That's blossoming in my heart. Your ego will say, you are lying. Don't listen. when you continue asserting the positive, when you continue asserting the positive, that negativity, that impurity of anger gets sublimated. Because it's the same energy that, just like electrical energy, when it's short-circuited, it goes on giving you trouble. Correct the short circuit, where has the trouble gone? It has no place. Automatically it disappears. It's sublimated into pure energy. So when you defeat anger, anger doesn't sit somewhere lying around. It no longer exists. When you defeat darkness, darkness doesn't stay somewhere in corner. Figure that out. And that's a profound point that has to settle in the heart. If that settles, you are on a real spiritual path. Religion in its vibrant, dynamic state. But you are following that kindergarten aspect, constantly reminding yourself of how many demons have been chasing me, and where are they, and where they are waiting for me, etc. And go on reading these stories, how those demons were related to demons from Satya Yuga and all that. It's big details. All that does not have practical value. To distract now. Coming back to the topic. Next demon is Akampan. Akampan is passion. When a person becomes infatuated, kitty is infatuated by a rat. Looks. Akampan, won't shake. Unshakable fixity. Next demon is called Vajradant. Teeth are like thunderbolt. It's crocodile. Hidden, seething jealousy. Sits like a crocodile. That once it has gotten something, it will not let go. Teeth are like thunderbolt. Next demon is called Dhumketu. Dhum, mist, smoke. And that's called delusion. Deluded mind that doesn't, just like sometimes your eyes are affected by dust, and then you can't see. Things are all gloomy. And another demon known as Atikaya. Atikaya literally means body that has another dimension. You have main body, and then there is another body emerges from you. I'm trying to give you the literal meaning. Atikaya. Kaya is this, ati, extending your body, but his body becomes suddenly swollen up. Just like the films do sometimes. They enlarge your whole body. But what enlarges your body in your mind is your ego. So egoistic vanity, that's atikaya. काम रूप जान सब माया सपने हूँ जिनके धर्म न दाया. Now these Rakshasas have wonderful siddhi. They can assume any form according to their will. And even in their dreams, they are never noble or righteous. They don't know anything, any dharma, righteous conduct, nor do they have any mercy, kindness. Here also understand what is being said. Anger, greed, hate, pride, conceit, these have wonderful ability to hide themselves and take different shapes. Figure that out. See the operation of negativity by people in different moods. A person comes to his enemy, but with a joyous face. His hatred has developed a different form, by changing its form, and become very gentle personality. Similarly, all your negative qualities have that ability. Also, your positive qualities have that ability. Devas also change, but they are not so much for change. But they have also, in the role of Puranas, they also have their appearance. But Devas change in light. These negative qualities change in darkness. In storyline, this is another psychic power. To them, night is not night. Rather, they are more refreshed in darkness. Ignorance, the more ignorance, stronger those demoniac forces. To understand how those demoniac forces stay in your own personality. All the forces in this sattva, rajas, tamas, they are within. And your project is to allow the higher self to emerge and the lower self to be sublimated. And that's the whole story of life. Dasamukha bat sabha ek bara, dekhi amitapan parivara. Once, Ravana with 10 heads, seated on his throne in the royal assembly, with all 20 eyes, he looked at his vast family and his associates and his strength, his army. Sut samuha jana parijana nati, ganay ko paradishacha rajati. How many were they? Who can count them? Sons, grandsons, relatives, lots of servants, and countless soldiers, demoniac soldiers. Beholding all this vast array of relatives and soldiers, Ravana spoke. Words steeped in anger and conceit. He's not happy with all that. He's being inspired to crush the divine qualities, to go after gods. Sunahu sakal rajani charajutha, hamare bairi Vibuddhi barutha. And he gives his royal message. All of you, O Rakshasas, rascals, listen. All those who are godly, All these gods, they are our enemy, terrible enemy. The word used in Ramayana is Vibuddhi for gods. Buddha means buddhi, intellect. Vibuddhi means a special intellect. Those who possess a special intellect for attaining spiritual evolution or a spiritual wealth, they are called Vibuddhi. विशेष बुद्धि ते सन मुख नहीं करहीं लड़ाई देखी सकल रिप जाहि पराई. Oh, soldiers, demoniac soldiers, these devatas, gods, they are our enemy. And they are so coward. They don't fight frente a frente, face to face. They always go on hiding. So you have to go on looking for them in corners, in caves, in pilgrimage centers, in temples. They are hiding. And whenever they see us, the demoniac army, they vanish, they go somewhere else. So be careful how to deal with them. तन कर मरण एक विधि होई कहूँ बुझाई सुनहु सब सोई. There is one method which I will explain to you all, Ravana is saying. द्विज भोजन मकब होम सराधा सब कह जाय करहु तुम बाधा. These gods are nourished by righteous deeds done by human beings. What are the deeds? Dvij bhojan, feeding the Brahmins. Brahmins are gurus, great personalities who teach. Yajnas, performance of sacrifices. Havan, in ritual, you are pouring oblations and oblations become sublimated. Shraddha, a special ritual performed for the salvation of the soul. But all these points apply to every person. Brahman Bhojan, developing love for satsanga. Yajna, living to disseminate spiritual knowledge or spiritual values. Jnana yajna, bhakti yajna, whichever way. Havan, sublimating the negative in you. And finally, bringing about salvation for your soul, allowing your soul to become liberated. So all these, everyone needs to be involved in. Sacrifice, sublimation, Godward movement. And demons, the negative forces in you, they are after discouraging you from going into these directions, these works. In simple way to understand, the positive and negative, both are there in every individual. If you want to strengthen your higher self, then you allow the negative to become sublimated. If you don't, then the negative in you gains power. So, for Ravana is again the whole family and of ignorance. Ignorance is the source behind Ravana's strength. And ultimately Ravana represents ignorance, avidya. That avidya's movement is a movement of darkness, dark forces. They always challenge your virtuous effort. And that challenge had double purpose. Main purpose of the challenge is to strengthen you. Why should there be adversity? People generally ask, God created the world. But why did he create all this misery and problem and bitterness? Couldn't he have better brains? But this type of thinking is so childish. Think of your childhood state. If God had created everything with smooth flannel, always cozy and comfortable, you didn't have to walk anywhere, then what would happen? In other words, there will not be real growth. You grow up. At every stage of growing up, whether it is physical, mental, spiritual, you need resistance, you need challenge, you need trial, you need test. A tree cannot raise its head. I'm so strong, I'm not afraid of hurricanes. Unless there is some hurricane or wind, how can you say that? So in other words, challenges in your life have been placed, originated from God on the basis of divine compassion. In creation, no soul can ever remain absolutely comfortable. Real comfort lies in souls realizing its nature. And challenges are presented for that ultimate, for that goal. Coming back to the simple point that Rakshasi movement, demoniac movement, discourages a person from all virtuous deeds, discourages you from practicing integral yoga. Chudha heen balaheen sur सहज मिली हहीं आई तब मारी हूं कि छाड़ी हूं भली भांति अपनाई. When gods are not given all the nourishment by stopping sacrifice, yajna, havana, shraddha, all these ceremonies, if gods don't receive their nourishment, they will become weak. Automatically they will become submissive to us. And when they come surrendering themselves to us, Ravana says, then we will see what we will do. Whether to kill them or enslave them. We will decide at that time. Meghanad kahu puni hakarawa, dinhi Sikh balu bayaru bayabhawa. He called out for Meghnad and began to instruct him how to develop immense animosity towards those gods. I'll give you a little humorous point about the Hindi word hakarawa. Hakarawa was call out someone. Usko hakarao. But what it actually means, hakarao. When you command someone, See that someone says yes. Keep a hammer in your hand. If it doesn't, break the hand. In other words, you're not calling people out of harmonious atmosphere, but out of commanding nature. Because the demoniac strength doesn't know any gentle manner. All this is being told to understand that all those points are there in every individual, in different degrees. Understand, use your discriminative knowledge. And if you find negative in you, don't become discouraged. The negative doesn't have their power. They exist in darkness. And you have so many dark things in your dark room. Simple medicine is bring light. And that light is love of God. That light is being good to others. Be good, do good, develop devotion. Use your energy in generosity, service. When you do all the negative that fill volumes and volumes of writings, all negatives will just disappear. They don't exist. Positive exists. Anything good that you do, even the minimum, that goodness is not going to die away. Nothing in the world that can destroy it. But negative doesn't have its existence. This has to be figured out. Yato dharmas tato jaya. Where there is virtue, there is victory. Therefore, if you are moving in the positive direction, building up faith, love of God, filling your life with satsanga, moving on to sublimate the negative in your personality and all that, you are moving that way. The movement becomes enriched by increasing faith and trust. Now, describing his glory of his son, Meghnad. Meghnad literally means thundering cloud. The negative impressions gather in your mind, and their impact on your personality is like a thunder. But thunder that discourages the positive virtues in your personality. Tirahi ji tirana aane sumadhi, uti sut pitwanu sasana ka adhi. He ordered Meghnad, go and conquer those gods. And Meghnad immediately prepared himself and marched towards that project of defeating gods. Ehi bidhi sabahi agya dinhi, apanu chaleu gada karalinhi. Similarly, he gave different tasks to different demons, all meant to destroy and defeat gods. And he himself, with a massive mace in his hand, prepared towards this excursion of gaining victory. Chalat dasanan dholati dhar avani, garjat garvasravahi sura ravani. When Dasanana, Ravana moved, the earth shook. People take it literally. The earth is your foundation of the spiritual movement. And when Ravana aspect begins to gain strength, the whole foundation begins to shake. Garbha Saravahi Sura Rajani, this storyline. The dread that he creates is so powerful. The demoniac, rather godly women, the goddesses, they suffer from miscarriage. They have babies to come, and they come untimely, and they die. People take it literally. It's a wonderful description. But what does it simply mean? If demoniac movement starts, many positive karmas of yours and positive attitudes of yours, they are ready to give birth to wonderful insight. But with the here, Ravana comes, miscarriage. Ravana avat suneu sakoha, devan take peru grihi kirigoha. As listening to this Ravana's movement, Ravana with immense anger, gods ran to hide themselves in the caves of Sumeru mountain. Digpalan ke lok suhaye, sune sakal dasanan paye. And the deities of directions, they are gods. All those gods ran away. Ravana occupied all their offices. This also is a mystical description. All elements have their gods. Air, water. And all these elements can nourish you. But when Ravana movement starts, they are all become envenomed. Go out with the idea of going to do wonderful pranayam. And then comes a truck. And all that were getting amazing amount of carbon dioxide. What was godly has become ungodly. Same things that give you nourishment in a godly way, now they become envenomed. Puni puni singhanad kari bhari, devi devatan gari pachari. And again, Ravana roars. Singhanad roars like a lion in the forest. He's like a lion, and he thinks everybody is deer or lamb or goats or whatever. And all act subservient, they run. And when Ravana doesn't see gods, the whole forest is free of all animals. What does he do then? He becomes so frustrated. He goes on showering the worst of abusive words that he can find in his dictionary. Ranamadamatya phirai jagadhava, pratighabhata kojata katahuna pava. And intoxicated with the idea of finding someone to fight with, All the muscles are paining him, looking for a match, fighting match. But frustrated, he can't find a match. Everyone runs away. It doesn't give him the chance to prove how strong he is. Ravi Shashi Pavan Barun Gana Dhari Agni Kala Jam Sabha Adhikari. Sun God, moon God, wind God, water God, fire God, the God of time, Yama, God of death, Kinnara Siddha Manuja Sura Naga, Hati Sabahi Ke Panthahi Laga. The different types of beings, Kinnaras, Siddhas, human beings, gods, spirit of Nagas, a special type of souls with tremendous mental power. He ran after them and subjugated them. No one could sit peacefully. All these different grades of people are described. They are all in human personality. As your sentiments become more purified, different types of divine expression manifests. In other words, if your sentiment is in the level of singing, dancing, you have become a kinnara. If your sentiments move towards kirtan, japa, etc., you go into another level. You become divine apsaras or divine beings. I'm just giving you to understand the differences in your sentiments, differences in your thoughts, and all variations described as personalities. Brahma Srishti Jahan Lagi Tanudhari Dashamukha Basavarti Nara Nari. All levels of beings in Brahma's creation, all beings up to Brahmaloka, they came under the control of Ravana. That again is a philosophical truth. That is, as long as your mind is gripped by the idea of finding happiness in the world of time and space, as long as you are gripped by law of karma and involved in the cycle of birth and death, you are under Ravana's control. Ignorance controls you. And looking at another way, the entire creation of Brahma relates to souls that will not attain liberation if you are confined to Brahma's creation. In order to attain liberation, you have to move into Vishnu's creation, or ultimately go to Shiva's level. Brahma's creation implies the world process. Therefore, Vairagya itself has been defined. Vairagya is that you, from a blade of grass to the level of Brahma, should not fascinate your mind. That's called absolute Vairagya. Then you are well suited for attaining liberation. All this seems like a big thing to understand, but nothing much if you understand it in a simple way. So the Brahma's creation here refers to the world experienced in the terms of time, space, causation. What we call it WWW. Who, where, why. As long as you are caught in this world website, no matter how the greatest grade you come into this world, greatest, but still it's conditioned. No matter how best is your dream, and you are eating nothing but cream. Wake up and you realize you didn't have even a teaspoonful. Even the best of your dream has not benefited you. आसु करहि सकल भय भीता न वहीं आई नित चरण विनीता. All living beings, all jivas, souls, they bow down to Ravana with great humility. They fall at the feet of Ravana. भुजबल विश्ववस्य करि राख, भुजबल विश्ववस्य करि राखसि को न सुतंत्र, मंडलीक मणि रावण राज करई निज मंत्र. By the strength of his arms, he conquered the entire world. No one was left free, swatantra. Everyone, every soul that is bonded by karma is not swatantra, paratantra. You are dependent on not self. That's why you're naughty. And the Ravana is the emperor of emperors, ruling over all. That's the picture of a general picture of power of ignorance. And the whole world is gripped by ignorance. And what's the cure? That's the story of Ramayana.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.